The winner of the Circular Design Challenge is
What if I were to tell you that you and I are wholly responsible for the decay of this planet? The extinction of 1 million species of plants and animals, the choking landfills, the erosion of the very basis of our economies, the loss of livelihoods, and the serious compromises in the quality of life throughout the world. The picture is perhaps more dire and darker than the words I have just spoken. It is not happening in another land. It is not that somebody else is doing it. It is you and it is me and it is us. Fashion and textile is one of the largest pollutants in the world and we still have no awareness. The fashion world needs more responsible designers who keep a track of their materials, environmental impacts and ethical practices. Rather, it should be just a given. I have with me today one such designer who has been working on sustainable fashion for years. This label is called Pieux. Alright, so here we are. Welcome, Pratyush. So I think you are one of the best examples that we would have at the moment to take us through your journey. So would you like to share something about, let's say, your where you started your studies and how did you get into design?
To begin with, I was a science student in my school days and I wanted to be a doctor. Probably the reason when I, switched my career from being a doctor to a fashion designer, science is something which can be, it's an inspiration everywhere when I'm creating my garments. Whether it's my, collections inspiration, it's somehow related to science or biology or anatomy, or and probably using technologies and lights and circuits in the garments. It's been there in my last 10 years of including my college days in Pearl Academy. I did my undergrad in Pearl Academy, Delhi. That was 2007-11. Then after completing my undergrad in fashion design, I did my master's in fashion bodywear, which included corsets, lingerie and swimwear. And I did my thesis on sustainable textiles and wearable technology, where I started, working on 3D printing as a technology.
So which college did you go to for your master's?
So for my master's, I did my master's in De Montfort University, which is the only university in the entire world where they teach lingerie designing. Okay. So that was one thing I wanted to learn because I felt, of course, I learned different aspects of fashion design in my undergrad, which wasn't enough, of course, because there are so many semesters we are learning few things for a period of time. When I thought of doing my master's, so I felt like I should study a part of fashion which I might not be able to learn the moment I start, the moment I get into the industry, so which was lingerie and corsetry. I wasn't sure at that time during my third semester, which was second year, whether I should continue doing fashion design because I was good in fine arts, and the reason I chose first year was amazing for me because it was all about designing on paper, drawing, fine arts and exploring materials. So I was doing that all my life. Being in a boarding school, we were introduced to carpentry and metal and all those. So that wasn't a really tough part when I was in my first year. But the moment I was introduced to fashion, it was something which was really scary. Probably that was a time when I got introduced to Alexander McQueen and Hussein Chalayan. And I was like, wow, designing is not about, what I was seeing as Manish Malhotra pieces. But designing can be anything, and it's global, and that's the time I started researching on designers who are working very differently. So
Pieux Pratyush Kumar.
Congratulations, Pieux!
Alright, so now we have some questions from students specifically, and I asked from different colleges. So
hi, I'm Aishwarya. I'm pursuing my post-graduation in fashion designing from Pearl Academy, Bangalore. I would like to know what inspired you in making this collection.
The core inspiration behind creating this entire collection was, I'll say, it was my material, of course, which was, upcycled carpet waste textile. That was the core inspiration because I wanted to show the world that something which is considered waste by most of the people can actually be brought in use for creating something which is functional, wearable and aesthetically appealing. That pushed me to create this collection and, showcase it at CDC.
Hi, I'm Shilpa VS, pursuing BDS Fashion Design Foundation from World University of Design. My question to you is that design process, like step by step, is how much important in a product design? Is it mandatory to follow the steps?
design process, it's more like an approach that you are making towards reaching your final product. If I talk about myself, for me, my design process starts with the material. I should know the material that I'm using, and accordingly I'll be able to create a collection and or a garment, because I know the kind of material, whether it has got a good fall, whether it is a very stiff fabric. So if it's stiff, what can we create? So but there is always a process involved, and there's no set rule that okay, you have to go 1 2 3 4 5. It can be right from the middle, but you are ultimately following a path to reach your the final product that you are trying to achieve. So that is what I believe, that even as a student, when you are working on your collections, it's not that you will just simply create a garment and you'll say, okay, this is my garment, I don't know why I created it. There's always a path that you are following. Probably you don't realize it, but there is a way on which you are going while you are creating your collection, and it's really important to follow that. Down the line, that becomes your style of work also, because you don't know that you are doing it somehow, but you are actually following certain rules that you have set subconsciously.
Hi, my name is Shantiri Nayak. I'm a PGDFT student from Pearl Academy, Bangalore. And my question to you is, when can a brand be called sustainable? When they use certain kind of materials which are sustainable, or the techniques that they follow to make the product, or the practices that are followed in the firm, or should it be culmination of all these factors in order to be called sustainable? I'm asking this question because there are a lot of brands out there who by just using some natural fabrics tag themselves as sustainable. So is that right, or is that enough? Or what is the right kind of sustainability according to you? Thank you.
For a brand to be considered sustainable, it's really important that it should be a culmination of everything, which includes that the material should be sustainable, methods should be sustainable, the brand should be ethical, which means that the brand should give fair wage to their karigars, to the people involved. The brand should be vegan, they should consider planet for creating their collection. Brand should create small collections. They should not be following the trend of creating multiple collection in 1 year like any other fast fashion brand, and that is really important. And the point that you mentioned about the brands that are using natural textiles and claiming themselves to be sustainable, that is, of course, that's in our industry it's called greenwashing.
Okay. So from my side, I would like to add that definitely a pure sustainable story is about closing the loop, where if you are consuming something to create a garment, and then you put it up on store and people buy it, then once they use it, the garment should come back to the recycle supply chain, and from that supply chain it comes into the spinning and everything, and then that comes back. So it's basically creating that loop and closing the loop, and not having wastage come out and go to the landfill or go to the rivers and go to the oceans and all that. So I think that's pretty much. And
even at this stage, like I'm using recycled plastic bottles. For example, the jacket that I'm wearing, it's recycled plastic bottle, which is RP textile. And I know that even if it's recycled polyester, it leaves behind microplastics. Either we can let the bottles reach the landfill, which will add more to microplastics. I mean, there are already microplastic, and again we are dumping plastic bottles, or we can somehow bring and use those plastic bottles to create our garments. And keep thinking about, or keep working towards, where we can somehow save microplastic from reaching the oceans and other areas in the environment.